Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are having a phenomenal Sunday. I know that I am. Like I tell you guys, every Sunday, this is the day that I look forward to for a multitude of reasons. Yes, it is the Lord's Day. All glory, honor, and praise to only Him, nothing else. And also, sorry, getting myself together over here. Sundays are the days where I can most times typically relax and collect my thoughts and just see where I'm at with everything. I hope you guys can hear me. It's I like to use my head. So hopefully you guys can hear me. So Sundays are the Lord's Day. It is a day that I truly take to be able to rest as long as there are not any events for cake doubles or any of my other businesses that I need to attend to. Um, and then it's also the day that I get to come here and talk to you guys, and you guys oftentimes talk back. Welcome to the Sunday Sit Down. This space was created intentionally as a means to be able to have kind of a sacred space where people can come, they can engage in conversation, and they can just freely express themselves, right? Without having to worry about what other people think, have to feel, have to say. Like, this is a very open forum. I encourage full open dialogue, and just come and be yourself, right? No judgment from me, and I don't let anybody else judge anybody in this either. So, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead. Hold on, I gotta open up the room, but I don't know what this is doing. Technology, I love it, but it get on my nerves. Like, for real, for real. It just won't let me be. It won't let me breathe. It won't let me be great. Instagram, I do apologize. I don't know what is going on with my feed today, but I can tell you that I won't be able to go live. I know it's ironic because they won't be able to tell, but I won't be able to go live today from Instagram just because I need to take everything out and put it completely back in. Give me just 1 second so I can let my Facebook people in the room. Hopefully you guys can still see me. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Give me just a moment. I'm trying to open up the space for y'all to come in. Okay, hopefully you guys should be able to. Oh, okay, hopefully you guys should be able to see me, hear me. If you can't, please put it in the chat. Let me know, and then I will make adjustments accordingly. But tonight is it's a culmination of thoughts for me because there's been a lot that's been going on. There's been a lot that I have heard about from other people. There is a lot of conversation and dialogue that has been delivered to me and has been given back by me. So tonight we're going to talk about growing together or growing apart. My first question is, what are we doing, people? Right? With the way that the world is going on right now, and everything that is happening, that is literally a question that I would like to pose to each and every one of you guys. What are we doing? Are we intentionally doing this thing where we are choosing to grow together? Or are we letting the ways of the world, our own foolishness, our own unhealed traumas, are we letting that stuff get in the way and keep us from being able to do what it is that we were designed to do as a people? I put up a post earlier this week, and I hope you guys could resonate with the post. I hope you understand where I was coming from in putting up said post. But everything we say, everything we do, um, everything we try, because some of y'all out there, y'all are professional triers, right? Y'all don't be doing too much else other than really trying. Sorry about that. Like I said, I got to open up the space and let the people come in. But in all you're trying, what is it that you're actually out here doing? Because if you just continue to try and try and try, you really didn't do anything. You'd like to believe that you did, but you didn't. So if you have someone who is consistently trying while you can give them kudos and applause and, a pat on the back for a gallant effort, you're still losing something because that doesn't designate, right, that there is actual growth that is occurring. That means that that person could be comfortable with the minute level of try that they're actually doing, that they're actually trying. And they're telling you, oh, well, I'm trying, I'm trying. And some people do that to sell that wolf ticket of um, that their trying should be good enough. No, I'm sorry, boo boo. To a certain extent, it's not. If you don't go beyond just trying into the actual space of doing, we aren't going to be able to build too much of anything. Everything and all your just trying will be torn down because it doesn't have a foundation. It doesn't have a solid thing that it is that we know we can stand on. The foundation still has its cracks. The foundation is still wobbly. The foundation has not been reinforced so something can withstand on it. I'm saying all this because I want people to understand like there is power when you do intentional relationship work. If you are out here just flying by the seat of your pants and you in any sort of relationship, whether it's platonic, whether it is familial, whether it is intimate relationships, career wise, none of your relationships should be anything that you do by the seat of your pants. You should be operating from the standpoint of I'm either going to grow in or from this situation together with this individual, or I'm going to grow apart. Not doing anything causes you to grow apart. Not actually doing something causes you to grow apart. Time is a killer for all relationships, right? Because we are on borrowed time. Like if we take everybody else out of it, if we take our kids out of it, if we take our parents, significant others, friends, if we take everybody else out of it, and I want to do that because at the end of the day, when it's your time to go home, it's only going to be you, right? So you need to look at with these. I told the Lord He gonna give me 100 years. So with these next 59 years that I got left to do this thing, what is it that I'm actually going to do when it comes to the relationships that I actually have, right? And like I said, in my own personal experiences and conversations right now, it's on like relationship side, intimate relationship side. It's starting to come back a little bit on the friendship sides, and then in the business aspect, I had a good vendor friend of mine, Mr. DD. He tagged me in a post, and it just was speaking about the division that's going on between Tulsa organizations. Now, I'm not going to get into that. You can see my comment on his post. That's not a wholeheartedly what I'm talking about today, but something is going to come from it. We are either like, it's like how can I explain it? When you get to the crossroads of something, right? It's a fork in the road. You have to make a decision of what it is that you're actually going to do. Am I going to go to the left and grow apart from this person? Or am I going to intentionally go to the right and grow with this person? The reason why I did it like that, I don't really favor my left. My left is what it is. Everything right side is a strong side. But over time, just in the natural doings and beings of life, relationships fade, right? Every things can change. Um, People's intentions, their desires, the way that they go about, you know, the way that they go about how they do what they do, people get comfortable. Sorry. People comfortable, right? And you can meet a person, and when you first meet that person, it appears as though they're on the same a lot of what you are. You can fill in whatever word you need to put right there. They're on the same level, they're on the same track, they're on the same mindset, they're on the same just whatever. But the more you lock in, the more you engage, the more you spend time with this person, they're actually not. By nature and societal programming, we're all selfish. Sometimes in our doings with other people, we don't pay attention to our level and degree of selfishness. We don't pay attention to when that mask of selfishness actually started showing itself again. We don't realize that we're doing what's in our own natural nature, our natural order of our preferences, our natural order of just how comfortable we've been for quite some time now. And this is even more evident and more present when you're in your single space, right? When you don't have nobody that you're responsible for intimately, when you don't have nobody that you have to kind of almost report to, you know what I'm saying? When you don't have another individual that you have a responsibility or even an obligation to, when you are just left to you, it's a whole lot that you don't care about. It's a whole lot that you don't pay attention to. It's a whole lot that you don't give consideration to. It's a whole lot that you're not mindful of, right? And to a certain extent, that's cool when you're single and when you have a desire to only be single. But if you are someone who meets someone, talks to that person, gets to know that person, spends time with that person, um, there's a certain level of investment that is made or is appeared to be made, right? Because you know your situation. I don't. Y'all have, if you want to know your situation, you can come and you can talk to me at the Clarity Coaching Collective. I'm here for it. But I say that way because it's just like we've gotten to a point of almost mistrust where we don't know what people are truly on. We don't know what they're about. We don't know what their intentions are because people aren't taught nowadays, in my opinion, to lead with their intentions, right? I am a very intentional person from the moment we connect, male, female, it don't matter. I am a very intentional person from the moment that a disruption occurs in the connection or the engagement that we are partaking in. Some people will say, oh, well, that's too much. You don't always have to get closure. You don't always have to, kind of know what's going on. No, I don't have to 100% know what someone else has going on. If that's not something that they feel as though they want to tell me, then I don't worry about it, right? Because we're grown. I worry about it for my kid, But for another grown individual, if you're not telling me what's up, if you're not telling me what you're trying to be on, if you're not telling me how you feel, what you're thinking, and I'm not, all of this is a lot. I'm trying to run all this down in this conversation right now. I'm not saying you have to tell me these things every waking moment, every waking second of your day, but to not include another person within your life and you're engaging in a manner to build life with that person, yeah, you're going to end up growing apart. And right now in life, there are a lot of people who are growing apart and don't even fully realize like that that's what they're doing, right? Growth is active. It's not passive. So if you're growing together, that's going to take active growth. If you are willing to grow apart, yeah, you could be passive. And if you're engaging with someone who is passive to the degree that you feel that they are, because there's all different types of levels of passivity, you got to pay attention to that. You got to understand, all right, like, cool, it was fine 2.5 seconds ago. We were still getting to know each other. Like, but once y'all lock in, once there is intellectual conversations and intellectual energy that's passed, when there is spiritual and emotional energy that is passed, when there is physical energy that is passed. Notice I said that one last, and there's a reason for that. Someone's passive nature or someone's passive preference is not going to get you anywhere but growing apart. Most relationships, any type of relationship, it doesn't really fall apart overnight. Like there may be a straw that breaks the camel's back at one point, but for the most part, it doesn't happen overnight. There are things that transpire, there are conversations that are had, there are not so favorable moments that are experienced. Um, Most relationships, in my opinion, in my capacity of work with my clients, is it happens like the drift happens when the growth is no longer mutual, right? In nature, you don't have a choice but to grow. A lot of people try to stay the same. Life tells you, no, like, we not doing that. And there are people who will fight with life, with the universe, with God, whatever you believe in. There are people who will fight to kind of remain the same or fight to not elevate because they just don't want to do the work. I understand it as an individual and as a certified mindset elevation life coach. Like, I get it. Growth is painful, growth is challenging, growth is annoying sometimes, growth is too much, but we're evolutionary creatures, right? But if you're engaging with someone else, the moment you get off of that mutual train of growth, it's about to become two ships drifting in the night. Most times when a drift happens, it's small neglects. So, and when I say small, I mean in the aspect of occurrences, not the degree, right? So I hope that helps y'all out a little bit. But it could be things of people not honoring their word. If you say you're going to do something, all right, low key, you've created a level of expectation because I asked you, I considered whether or not you were or weren't going to be able to do it, and you told me yes. So if you tell me yes and then it doesn't happen, I'm going to feel some type of way because you didn't honor your word. Or lack of integrity is a neglect. Like, if you are not who you say you are, and I find out that you are someone else, Yeah, you neglected to be transparent with me. You neglected to be open. You got the aspect of kids and the dynamics of figuring out schedules and workflows and how everything works best for your family unit. If you feel like you want to change those things, but you're not engaging in a conversation with me, hey, then I'm going to feel like that I'm being possibly taken advantage of, or I feel like I'm going to be neglected because I don't have a choice but to be on to take care of these kids. We made them together, but you want to tap out, you want to chill, you want to, do whatever else it is that you do to pass your time, but you didn't even consider me or these kids or what our family needs. Like there are all different types of um neglects that could happen even in friendship, like not showing up for your friend when your friend really needs you. Like that friend can feel neglected. I don't know about y'all, but as an adult, like now that I'm way older, don't do it. I'm not too old. 100 minus 59, that's where I'm at upon this conversation. But even as a friend, like if I come to you and I ask you for something, it takes a lot for me to ask you that because that meant that to some degree I couldn't do it for myself first, right? And for us as adults, realizing that in certain moments there are certain things that you just can't facilitate. Like, yeah, so if I come to you and it's about asking you for help or assistance and you don't show up, if I come to you and it's about like, just checking in, locking in with you, making sure that you good, but you don't do the same in return for me. Yeah, at some point I'm gonna start to feel neglected as your friend because you're not putting forth an effort for us to be able to grow apart. Now, me as an elevated mind, not even just the elevated mindset life coach, that makes me wonder what are your intentions when it comes to this relationship, right? So it's just like in everything that you do, there should be a level and a degree of your intention. There should be a reason why you and I are choosing to engage in this friendship, in this relationship, in this space, in this level of energy that we're engaging in. Like, why are we doing this? And then if you add the filter of what we're talking about specifically tonight, are we doing this to grow together or will this be something that allows us to grow apart? And some of y'all may need to ask the question, do I want to grow apart from this person? Because sometimes growth apart from the wrong person can be beneficial. You have to determine if that person is the wrong person or not. But you can also ask yourself, are you intentional about showing up in this relationship? Are you cool with just coasting? Are you trying to figure it out? Are you really trying to build? Like there are all different types of questions specific to your situation that you could ask if you really wanted to know that answer. There are specific questions that you can ask the other person that you're engaging with in this relationship, friendship, familial, relationship, intimate relationship. You can ask them the questions that you have yourself been asking yourself, right? And they should feel comfortable answering those questions. But keep in mind, if they don't, that answers those questions too. Are you going to want to do what's necessary? Are you going to want to respond accordingly? Or are you going to stick it out and stay in it? To be or not to be? That is the question, right? Now, since I'm talking about intentions, like, if you've watched any of my previous conversations, we talked about the difference between choices and decisions. Choices are things that I feel people choose in specific moments, like moment to moment. It don't go no further, no further, no farther, no further than that moment, right? It's just like, all right, I'm hungry. I can eat chicken or I can eat beef, right? Um, I'm thirsty. I can drink tea or I can drink alcohol. I care about this person. I want to be with them. I don't. It's in the moment. But then the backside to that with decisions is you go deeper. Even with the three questions that I just asked, chicken or beef. All right, I'm on a health kick. Let me figure chicken is going to be the better option. Beef stays in my stomach too long. Excuse me, it gives me indigestion after I get done eating it. I don't want no parts of that. Tea or alcohol. Sometimes it might depend on where you at. All right, I'm out and about. Let me go ahead and get some tea with some alcohol in it, whatever you feel, whatever's your flavor. Or if you don't drink alcohol, no, I'm not giving in to peer pressure. I'm not doing those things. I enjoy hanging out with my friends, but now I'm cool with a raspberry Bellini tea. We at Olive Garden. Y'all can turn up. I'm about to drink my tea. Do they want to be with you or don't they want to be with you? You need to be asking yourself that question too if you feel like they don't know. But even beyond that, if you don't want to be with that person, what goes beyond that? Because it ain't, oh, I don't want to be with this person, but I'ma still see what's up. I'ma still, and people be out here doing it, child. Let me tell you, they don't be wanting to tell somebody that they done for talking to them. Tell me, boo boo. I'm not tripping because I know where my power lies. I know what I'm worthy of. I know what I deserve. So if you hit me with a certain type of language that indicates that I'm not the one that you want to be with, okay, cool. Let me make this clearer for you. I don't want nobody who's on the fence. I don't want nobody who doesn't know what they want from me. I don't want anybody who is unsure. I don't want anybody who's not 10 toes down. Now, we still in this analogy that I'm talking about, but it might be speaking some truth for some of y'all. Um, yeah, if you don't know, I do. And this ain't it. I wish you guys best. Have a nice life. I That was me. I don't have to talk to you no more. I'm not gonna, duck and dodge and shy away. No, I'm gonna walk in my power and you gonna see exactly what it is and how my life moves and all the greatness that God has in store for me. And you will no longer be a part of it. But that's not my doing. You could have been more forthcoming. You could have had uh you could have made a choice. Sorry, made a decision, right? You could have made a decision to tell me more of what's up. You could be like, hey, I care about you. Like this is where intentions come in. I like this person and I don't want them to feel like I don't like them. I'm just not sure if I'm ready for a relationship. Now this is mature mindset, mature conversation, emotionally mature. But I'm going to let them know, and I have to be okay with whatever decision they make on the other side of my uncertainty. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, I don't know what the percentage is that you would actually be able to continue to lock in with that person beyond that, especially if it's been expressed that there's vision beyond just trying to see what's up. Like if somebody's really wanting to build and that's not where you're trying to be, stop trying to play house with these people. I could throw a stone and your stuff could be busted up, like for real. But I encourage people to walk more in their power. If you have a clear direction of where you would like to go, not specifically, it got to look like this and it got to happen at this time, but if you know where it is that you want to go and you come in contact with a person in a relationship and that's not what they're trying to do, it's okay to be like, you know what, respectfully, I'm about to leave you where you at. I don't judge you. I don't knock you. I don't even have nothing to say about you or to you beyond this point. That's mature, right? But not everybody is that mature. And it's so sad as a person who is 100 minus 59 at the point of this conversation to have had the experiences that I've had in the past 4 years. 4 years may seem like a long time to a lot, but it's a short period for up to 100. I told y'all that's where I'm getting. Um, it's very sad. Just that people, men and women, cannot be more clearer, more forthcoming about what their intentions actually are, right? And for me, like, so in a relationship space, and I've done this before, and I had no, like, it came out, I had no problems with it. So it's just like, meet somebody, y'all start, hanging out, spending time, stuff like that. Before anything goes anywhere, really, it's more so the thing of what are your intentions when it comes to me and to, this connection that we're starting to build. And I don't have, my dad is passed, right? So I'm not going to be able to really ask that question of him or have him ask that of a gentleman that I'm engaging with. I'm finna ask it. And based on what you say, I'm gonna put it through my filter. I'm gonna see if your words and your actions match up, which is the next thing I'm about to talk about. Up until the point to where your words and your actions don't match up. And even with me saying that, that's not what I'll be looking for, but it's what's happened. Like I told y'all, like I don't make this stuff up. I don't um I don't go into situations looking for those, sorry y'all, one second. Looking for those specific things to happen. I don't look for the proverbial shoe to drop. When that mug drops, I proceed accordingly. If it don't never drop, guess what? I still proceed accordingly. But words and actions actually matching up is one of the most important aspects of intentional relationship work, of intentionally growing together or intentionally growing apart. Words plus actions equal alignment. Say that with me. Words plus actions equal alignment. Your words and your actions must match. I did a whole little spiel in my post. Intentions matter, consideration matters, connectivity matters, communication matters, love matters, trust matters. Some of these things are just simply words that people view. For other people, they are the actions that they expect other people to live by. When words and actions match, you're growing together. Inconsistent energy creates distance, which leads to growing apart. It's too many of y'all out here who are very inconsistent, right? And some of y'all don't even start that way. So that's what gets the person like attracted to you, like the moth to the flame, right? It's like, oh, okay, like I'm just using this. This don't work for me, so don't get it twisted. But the WID, good morning, grand rising, like some of y'all are really used to that being your default mechanism to like engage with people, whether it is each day, whether it is every time y'all text, whatever the case may be, right? It's a simple way to start with words. but somebody interprets it as, oh, well, at least they're consistent. And I'm consistently not saying too much, consistently trying, but not actually doing. All of that to someone can create an unspoken promise because it's just like, oh, okay, well, he's consistent. He's hit me up this time. I've been able to talk to him about, what's going on in my life, and he's shown interest and he's cared. Then, after a good amount of time, I can't even give y'all certain dates or certain time speeds, but after a good amount of time, then the inconsistencies come out. You used to talk to me in the morning on the way to work, and in the afternoon on my lunch break. Then when I got home, you was just doing that 2 months ago. Now all of a sudden, WYGG, WYD, GM. Y'all know what these simple letters stand for. But it's just like, oh, okay. Then those become less and less. Phone conversations stop. We stop spending time. You stop getting to know me. You stop letting me know what's going on with you. That creates inconsistency. Once consistency, a degree of consistency, felt that it was built. When you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, it erodes trust and the connection. When you start out relatively consistent and then you become inconsistent for whatever reason, I know everybody has a life, right? I know everybody has things that they got going on, personal, business, even different dynamics when it comes to kids and stuff like that. But if we're locked in or if we're intentional about locking in, then to change or uproot that, like, I don't know if I can trust you anymore. And I say that specifically because that is what happened in a previous situation that I was engaging in. We got to a point to where certain things were consistently transpiring, spending time, having conversations, that type of stuff. And then all of a sudden it was just like, well, conversations became vague and clarity wasn't given and lack of understanding was produced. And it's just like, all right, like, what's up? I'm noticing that there's a difference. What's going on? And the tables got flipped, and it's just like, oh, well, I feel like you deserve this, that, the third, somebody else. Cool. I heard you. All I hear is you're telling me that you're not that person. I don't need you to tell me I should go find someone else. I'm hearing you tell me that you are not that person. For me, I don't let it get to the point to where it's just like I decipher, well, was he ever that person? Can he ever be that? No. What you tell me in that moment, for me, through your words and your actions, it speaks the world. So, all right, cool. Went on about my business, living my little life, figuring out what's next to come for me. That's all I am gonna do. Because that math wasn't mathing. And since the math wasn't mathing, I just removed myself from the equation. Like, I'm not here for that back and forth. Like I said, you can tell me that, you're not sure if you want to be in a relationship. You can say it like that. Okay, if you feel like you're not ready to be in a relationship, what do you feel like you are ready for? Let me know what you own so I can see if I'm willing to be on it too. And if I'm not, don't rob me of that choice. Don't rob me of that decision. Don't rob me of that opportunity to move forward how I see fit. So we're gonna run through a little recap real quick. We're gonna talk about what actually matters in a growing relationship. It's like certain key core elements that if you are intentional about growing together in a relationship, any relationship, because to a certain degree, there should be a base foundation that when it comes to a core part of your relationship, you should have in place. So, what actually matters in a growing relationship, as I said, intention. What are we building? And this goes to any relationship, friends, family, intimate relationships, professional relationships, parental relationships. What are we building? The next thing is communication. What are we saying that needs to be said? Or in some instances, what are we not saying that needs to be said? Because there's a whole lot of conversation that's not being had. That's why the Sunday sit down exists. It's a space where the things that need to be said, regardless, can be said, and then you can take them out into your own home, your own section of the community, your own friend spaces, your own workplaces. But it is to build the culture of communication. Because without communication, y'all, we won't get nowhere. We won't grow together, but we'll surely grow apart. Effort is energy being reciprocated. What you're putting out, is the other person reciprocating that? Are they returning that to you? Right? And it's funny with this one, with this effort, and is energy being reciprocated? Because I started to have a conversation with a friend the other day, and I can't exactly, oh, he sent me an Instagram post and I looked at it, and it was just a woman kind of discussing like how she would go about talking to her man if he was going through a troubling time or anything like that. Um, and then he sent me another one, and it was about just a woman giving her perspective of like what she feels women do. Women are multipliers, right? We are going to multiply the good, the bad, the ugly, and the in between. If you give us chaos, we're gonna multiply that chaos up until the point to where we no longer want to engage in that chaos and we just walk away. Or you have some women, they can see, hey, this man, he spreads chaos wherever he goes. I don't want no parts of it. And they just leave it alone. Or in my case, they walk away from it. We multiply success within our own selves from our family, our kids, our own careers. And we also do that for the men that we love because that's what we're designed to do. You give us foolishness, we'll multiply that. You give us happiness, we'll multiply that. You give us peace, we'll multiply that. You give us softness, we'll multiply that. We multiply even in the physical aspect, which I'm not going to get into because we grown on here. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But whatever a person gives another person is going to be reciprocated. So you have to ask yourself what type of energy is being reciprocated. Commitment. Do we both want to grow together? Because you can't have one person that's like, oh, yeah, like, okay, I understand that they're going to be growing pains. I understand that we're getting to know one another. I understand that we're trying to figure out schedules and, parental uh, mindsets and all that stuff. I understand all that. But even outside of those own individual things, what are we doing together? Or the other side to that coin is I'm cool doing what I do. You can either get down with it and, I'll uh, shuffle you in just a little bit, but no, you're not fully finna be in. There's a commitment before the commitment. And I say that, and I love saying that because it's so true. The commitment before the commitment is what are we doing? What is this thing finna look like for us? What is this thing? Right? And you got to kind of make a certain degree of that situation before you get too deep in, before you too far gone. The next one is discipline. Are we consistent when it's inconvenient? Are we consistent when we don't feel like it? Are we consistent when we got other things going on? And consistency can vary and look like different ways depending on your dynamic. Sometimes it can just be communication, right? Or sometimes it can be setting a day or a date or a moment where y'all just lock in and don't, really be paying attention to or worried about everything else. But it is consistently doing it so that no matter what inconvenience comes into play, that's how y'all honor each other. That's how y'all honor what it is that you're doing. Consideration. Are we being mindful of each other's needs? Like this is one that in the spaces that I have been mixing and mingling in interaction, man, it's a lot of y'all ninjas that are inconsiderate. And it's not because you can't be, right? Because if you're considerate of your own stuff, then you can be considerate of somebody else's stuff too. But oh, the inconsideration that has been thrown my way is just like, really? All right, cool. Your girl's like a duck. I'm not stunting off anything, but I'm paying attention to how people move. I don't hold it against nobody. I am very observant. I may not bring attention to it, but I pay attention to it. All right. Like, but to be inconsiderate is like you're not being mindful of anyone other than yourself. Even to the extent, like, depending on the age of your children, right? Like, if you got little kids and you out here on some foolishness, you out here doing mess, you out here doing the most, you out here being loose, you out here being a manipulator, y'all term narcissist. If you are being any of those things and you have children, oh, bless the babies, because you are literally taking that energy and introducing it to them, even when you don't think that you are, right? Because if you just come out of a experience where you knocking some woman down and that ain't really the woman that you gonna be with, and then you end up going around your children and interacting with them and having fun with them and spending time with them, you're still taking that foolish energy that you just experienced and expressed in that situation with that woman, and you're putting it into the space of your daughters, right? So if you're doing that and your daughters feed off of that energy subconsciously, they absorb that energy subconsciously, you would be upset and you would maybe try to do bodily harm to a man who did your daughters the same way, but you don't understand that you're the one that taught them that in the first place, right? And I've had to have this conversation with myself as a woman because I have a daughter, right? And given everything that I've been through, I will be damned. And y'all know I don't be cussing on her. I try not to cuss in life, but sometimes it slip out. But I swear I would not do anything to make my daughter go through half of the stuff that I've gone through when it comes to me, right? So now with where I am in my life, I feel like it's a refining process. I have found my voice. I have found who I am. I am exploring the woman that I want to be within my next relationship. But there have been some fools and some foolishness that have come my way to where it's just like, not only can I not allow them to do it, I can't allow myself to do it because I don't want any of that energy to go to my daughter, right? Uh, that I don't apologize for it, but that's the level that I be in. Everything that you do, that energy goes out and you can't control what comes back. But if you're putting more good out, more good should be returned to you. The last one of what actually matters in a growing relationship, the golden rule: do unto me as I do unto you. Simple and plain. But once I see how you do onto yourself and do other people, I'm not taking no parts in it. Mm-mm. Trying to, in a way, especially after, we've started to lock in or whatever the case may be, lump me in a category with other people, other women that you've experienced, stuff like that. Like I understand it and it's not ever cool. It is, I don't know, under considered, no, there is a degree of acceptance, right? Because you're going to speak on your previous experiences to understand and determine if this experience is something that you actually want to engage in, and if you see any goodness coming from it as it should benefit you. But after we have locked in and you're still putting me in a category with other people, other women, other experiences, then you've kind of decommissioned yourself from being in my life. Because none of that should matter once we get to a certain point. But if you're not at that point, then let me know and we'll go ahead and grow apart. Now we talk about growing apart, the red flags. Lack of accountability. If you cannot hold yourself accountable, if you cannot allow others to hold you accountable, yeah, that's a growing apart red flag, right? Because if we've been locking in, if we've been engaging, if we've been spending time, and at the same time, I can't tell you lovingly about you or lovingly about how you've made me feel, yeah, no, that's a system of accountability that you need to work on. Even I've had it to where after a relationship ended, information was brought to me about said individual, and it's just like, oh, like, okay, well, if he's able to do all of that, then maybe some of the things that he had originally said to me were not true. And he's doing a lot of the things that he said that he didn't want to do, or he didn't want to be known that he was doing. So it's just like, oh, okay, that person lacks accountability. And like I said, I'm a very loving person. I've brought information to people before, and I've had it flipped on me. I've had it just blown off. Look, I'm just the messenger, right? I don't care what our dynamic previously was. This information has been said about you. I'm just letting you know, do with it what you will. I want the same in return. The next growing apart red flag is passive communication. Communication in itself should always be an active thing. If you are talking about more nothing than something, what are we doing? Why do you even want to engage with me? Why do you even want to have conversation with me if you ain't really talking about nothing? Now, I ain't saying we always got to have super deep and extremely stimulating intellectual conversations, but we shouldn't just, what you doing? What you watching on TV? Like, come on, bro. Why do you care? It should be, something else that matters, or something else more that you have going on in your life, in my opinion. The next one is avoidance of conflict or growth conversations. Like if you get into it with somebody and they just like, you know what, like they don't even try to engage in the conflict. They don't even try to resolve the conflict. They're just like, eh, okay. Yeah, that's a straight up red flag. Or if someone is not talking about where you guys are growing together, friendship, intimate relationship, familial relationship, parental relationship, it don't matter. If someone avoids conversations of growth, that is a huge red flag. The next one in growing apart red flags is repetitive cycles with no resolution. Like if we keep going round and round in this hamster wheel on the same thing, the same time, same way, and we cannot find a resolution that says something, right? Or if we're on the hamster wheel and I am attempting to resolve whatever the issue is, so we can get off of this dang hamster wheel, but you're not. You're just like, all right, like, can we move on? Can we move forward? Like, why are we still talking about these types of things? That's a huge growing apart red flag. And then one sign, this is the one that the other ones was good. I can resonate with them, but me myself personally, like this is the one where I'm just like, oh Lord, why? One-sided emotional labor, like one person of a two-party system is carrying the brunt of the emotional labor. If you are engaging with someone who does not express emotion for what you've said, what you've done, who you are, what your life is about, what your kids got going on, whatever the situation is, if that person is not, and this is again, is once y'all like lock in. I'm not necessarily saying be in a full-fledged relationship, but you can get emotionally attached before you're actually in a relationship. If a person is not doing that, if a person does not show care or concern, even after you've expressed something to them that you have care and concern about, that is a ginormous growing apart red flag. And hey, you might just need to accept that and be like, you know what? Well, that ain't the way that I expected it to go, but I don't want the alternative of me being emotionally spent or worn out or torn down or damaged or bruised or any of that. So I'm just going to wish that person God's best for them, and I'm going to keep it pushing in my own life, right? Um, And that should take you like, essentially once you do that, that reflection, right? Like, oh, people are so nervous. People are so scared of personal self-reflection, right? You have to reflect to determine where it is that you're going, to determine are you and this individual or these individuals growing together? Are y'all growing apart? Ask yourself, are we still growing together? Or are we holding on to history and drifting apart? Because it's a lot, like holding on to history, holding on to what's familiar, holding on to what you felt like you once knew, holding on to the hope of who you thought that person was. Like, that's tough, right? And in those spaces, like you kind of essentially have to take that person out of it when that person is no longer a part of it, right? Today at church, Pastor Todd was like, he was talking about God and he was saying, God ain't on that no more, right? So that thing that you're holding on to, that person that you're holding on to, that relationship that you're holding on to, those old ways that you're holding on to, if it's dead, let it be dead and understand God ain't on that no more. So if God ain't on it, what you own it for? Right? I'm not removed from this. I am telling you, like Pastor Ty was able to put it into words for me. Thank you, Pastor. But it is a realization and an understanding that I have had to go through numerous times and then all the confirmations. Because like Pastor Ty was in my business today. He didn't even He didn't know about it. We've only met each other once before, and it was like a long, long time ago. But not only just him saying that it's dead, everything that he said beyond that was it's like, all right, Lord, I got the message. Okay, I understand. And I've said that to him before. And he's like, all right, you keep telling me this, but you keep doing the very thing that you tell me that you understand. If you understand it, why don't you trust me with it?
All right, Lord. Ain't nothing I can say. Even in my still moments of self reflection on certain situations, certain encounters with certain people, certain, like I said, over the past 4 years, there have been a select, don't get it twisted, there have been a select number of men that I have engaged with, mostly in conversation. And it's just like, I don't know if it's them or if it's me, but it's just like somewhere it gets off and it makes me feel like possibly my breakthrough is coming, right? Because I desire a relationship, like a real one, a one that's rooted, a one that's restorative, a one that's grounded. Like I desire a real relationship. And so I've gone through, the period of fools and foolishness. And then lately I've been faced with people who can hold the level and types of conversations that I look for in a relationship. But then there are huge non-negotiables, character flaws, preferences that they, choose to get down with. And like I said, I don't judge nobody. When I say that, I really don't. But if what you do or what you choose to do is out of alignment with me, I'm not going to try to fit a square peg into a round hole. If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. But that does not mean for me, most times, that I'm not open to and willing to engage in conversation. But at some point, we get to that turning point to where it's just like something happens and it's just like, oh, well, I guess that's not what we're supposed to be doing in the first place. And that takes me to like the last, kind of point of the evening. I appreciate you guys for this extra time that you're giving me today. If somebody is willing, if two people are willing and are wanting to focus on intentional relationship repair, realignment is possible. It's going to take work to get to that point of realignment. It's going to take a new type of commitment to get to that point of realignment. But realignment is possible. Like I said, you just first have to want it. The flip side to that is there is also strength in releasing relationships that no longer serve you. Let me put that in a different way. There is strength in releasing, relationships that are no longer on a path, a track, a trajectory of mutual growth. You have to ask yourself, given where you are right now, what it is that you have experienced, what it is that you're currently experiencing, and what from those two aspects will you experience in the future. You have to ask yourself, is this dynamic with this person something that I need to repair or something that I need to release? Sorry, it's a gnat. So if y'all see me doing it, that's all it is. Only you know the answer to that. And maybe you need to work with me at the Clarity Coaching Collective to be able to get to the real root of the answer to that decision. But it's there. Should you repair or should you release? Both are hard, right? I would say lately for me, it's been way more releasing than having to repair, because the release comes after trying to repair. The release comes from after trying to move forward in clarity and understanding and consideration, effort, intention, golden rule, like all of that. I attempt those things before I have to execute the release. And not everyone is going to mind being released because that still absolves them from having to elevate in their dynamics with other people. Cool. You do you, boo. God's best. Right. So I'm going to let y'all go. I'm hungry. I'm about to go cook. But just remember, growth takes two. Effort from just one person, it creates an imbalance. Imbalances are the um, killer of intimacy, right? And it's not even just about sexual intimacy. Intimacy. Some people, hey, that's what they own. A person such as myself, it's everything else: mental, emotional, and spiritual. If you do not feel like that's the type of person that you can be, or not even that you can be, because it's this, like I said, and I'll talk about this in a different conversation, but I hate the fact that now that I'm older, can't, I don't feel comfortable giving people passes. Like, I'm not saying I hold anything against anybody, and I'm not saying that I look for a person to be a specific way. But once you display certain characteristics or certain traits, and I address them, it's up to you what you do with that constructive criticism. Some people don't want to change. Some people think that they're perfectly fine and they would rather stay who they are than try to come a little bit more into my lane. Just to see, what operating in that space looks like. So protect your peace. Pursue connection that reflects your values, not your history. Pursue a relationship that is evident of where it is that you're growing and the person that you're becoming. I love each and every one of y'all. IG, I promise I'm gonna get it together. I'm like I said, I'm gonna take it out and I'm gonna put it back in and I'm gonna see if it works from there. Y'all are beautiful. Thank you to each and every person who is in my life who has poured into me energy, um, love, kindness, peace, understanding, clarity. I love y'all, really. There ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm just taking this moment to give y'all flowers and let you know that I really do value having you in my life. To all my new people that have come into my life here lately, hey, y'all are on your way, right? On your way to being permanent um, fixtures in my life and in the foundation of who it is that I've become at this point in my life. So, with that said, for myself and for you guys, I want to say I hope you all have a very, very, very good life filled with real love and all of the above. And I truly mean it. Like, the apples ain't out as much because I'm hungry. But I love each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all for taking time out of your Sunday to sit down and chat with your girl, Nicole LaTreece. Let's keep the conversation going on below in the comments. In your current relationships, would you say overall that your relationships are growing together or growing apart? Let's talk about it. So until next Sunday, I love y'all and y'all have a good one.